Chapter 6. I looked out of the window in amazement. I wasn't particularly sure where in the world we were, but I did know that it was the most beautiful place I had ever seen. Outside, the trees towered at least 40 feet tall and were pale gray with spots of black on the trunks. Everything was covered in snow, so the ground looked like someone had left a giant white blanket on the floor. Occasionally a snowflake would hit the window and I would smile. My companion, who was sitting across from me, however, was not nearly as impressed. "I did not think you would be this excited," he commented, amusement coloring his voice. "This place is beautiful," I said in amazement, turning to face him. The train was simple in design, with blue carpet down the aisles, light tan leather seats, and brown walls. Simple, but elegant. "It's so serene and peaceful. I'm still wondering how you got in a first-class car with so little notice." "I come here when I need to clear my head," he admitted. I thought back to the employee from before. "Okay then, he must be a regular." "And how often is that?" I asked. "More often than I would like to admit, but then my life would be boring without some chaos every now and then, wouldn't it?" He smiled and leaned back. "You're probably right." I was smiling too. "And yours? What? Is your life chaotic at times?" he reiterated. "Less so than yours seems to be, but I wouldn't wish my life on anyone," I confided. I was certain his problems were bigger than a bunch of immature children that liked calling him names and forcing him to reactions for giggles. "Oh?" he seemed intrigued. "Dad's work makes it hard for him to be home. I only see him 2 or 3 days a week. School's okay, but being completely different from everyone around you makes it hard to have friends. I always end up hurt, betrayed." I sighed as memories began to fill my head, and I tried not to show how often this happened. "I know the feeling. My father is not exactly the most loving person in the world, and his work makes it hard for the 3 of us to be a family. But he does care." I touched my hands that were sitting on the table. "As for the people you called friends, clearly they do not know you as well as they could." "You mentioned you had a sister," I deflected, desperate to change the subject. "What's she like?" "My sister lost her eyesight in an accident a few years ago, and that loss changed her. She used to be a carefree person. She would always walk around humming and one song or another. She taught me how to read and write when father was too busy to do so." He paused for a moment, his eyes glazed over. "Now I read some of her favorite passages from books to her." Now there seems to be this eerie silence. "I'm sorry." "Thank you," his smile returned. "Very rarely does my family get sympathy from others. Must have been awful, what you and her went through." I tried to imagine what it would be like if Jeremy went through a similar ordeal. I couldn't picture it. Marcus looked out the window for the first time since we boarded the train. "I'm going to want to look to your right in a few seconds," he informed me. He was squinting as if he were trying to see what I found so wonderful. I turned to the window and saw it. A waterfall about 30 feet wide, with a weathered rock face. The river it dumped into was rushing fast, and the riverbank was frozen solid with chunks of ice crashing into each other. "Whoa," was all I could say. "Behind it is the safe house," he explained. "Is there like a secret entrance or something?" I asked as we passed the waterfall. "Well, it is difficult to get in without a water affiliation magic," he mused. "So how do I know when I can use magic?" I asked. "Is it like something that has to awaken, or can I just start dreaming?" "Well, there are some books you could look at. Cortara could help in case you lose control." "Who's Cortara?" I asked, noticing the unusual name. Of course, I had little room to talk. "My familiar," Marcus stated simply. Must have noted my completely blank stare as he explained. "A familiar is a creature enhanced by magic. Often they serve as guides and friends. The way you know you have found your familiar is that he or she will speak to you. Each familiar is different, but you'll know when you find them." "So these books you mentioned, do they say how the holy heck to pronounce the words?" I will be there to help when you need it," he teased slightly. "I apologize now if I set anything on fire." "You'll be fine. Besides, you're just as likely to have light magic as you are to have fire." "Still, I like being careful," I shrugged. "We're here," he announced as their train stopped. He stood and smiled, gesturing with his head for me to follow. "So where is here?" I asked out of curiosity. "I want to know what country was this beautiful during winter." "Trust me? Not likely." My guess was that he just didn't want to answer the question. "Again, I do not pay attention to human boundaries. What I can tell you is that we are near the edge of one of the dark territories." "Oh?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "A few kilometers west or north, and you would be what we call Netherlands. In your case, it is just human-controlled territory." You sound like we're at war, I pointed out, slightly appalled and angry at the statement. That's how I was raised to think, Marcus replied simply. Put his hands in his pockets and shrugged. We'll talk about this later, I warned, exasperated. You should have told me we were heading out to the snow, though. I would have grabbed a jacket. I started to shiver a little. Next time I'll think about that, he stated and began to shrug off his long black coat, feeling his long-shaved shirt beneath it. Thank you. My voice was quieter than earlier. One of the many things I did when embarrassed. Is something wrong? He asked, tilting his head at me. Nope. I shook my head and then looked down, covering my blush. My skin had no natural color, so when blood rushed to my cheeks, it was more obvious. Don't we have somewhere to be? Follow me. The trek to the forest was quick, a couple 100 feet to the waterfall where Marcus placed his hand on the weathered rock. Knocked face and whispered, Muare deflectatus. There's something you don't see every day, I whispered to myself, and it certainly wasn't. The left side of the water moved, making a doorway that led to a cave enveloped in darkness. Marcus went in first and gestured for me to follow. Speak for yourself, Marcus teased and then called out into the darkness. Cortara, I'm back. There was a roar from inside the cave that made me back up a little. Cortara? I asked, wondering what was waiting in the cave. Relax, she's friendly, Marcus told me, smirking a little as Cortara walked calmly toward us. I looked at Marcus and my eyes widened in fear. She had a long, serpentine neck, which was most of roughly 4 foot height. She had golden eyes that seemed to sparkle with amusement. Horns and claws were pristine white that seemed to glow like pearls. Her scales were light blue that reflected light like the ocean at its calmest. And she had a 2-foot tail that was attached to a close-to-the-ground body. Cortara was a dragon. Hi there, I greeted and stepped back a little in fear. Cortara let out a sound that can only be described as a chuckle. Marcus pinched the bridge of his nose. There's no need to laugh at her. Cortara let out a cross between a growl and a bark. What? Marcus asked, confused. Cortara looked back and forth between us and did what looked like the equivalent of raising an eyebrow. No, you're wrong. There is nothing there. Cortara snorted. What would appear to be a one-sided exchange with both confusion and fascination. Okay, what am I missing? Familiars can talk to you. While each little movement can be hard to decipher, you get used to it. Fortunately, only a magic can hear the voice of their familiar. He gave Cortara a look, and she walked back into the cave. So what did I miss just now? Nothing you need to worry about. He said a little too quickly and walked farther into a cave at a brisk pace. I raised an eyebrow and shook my head. If it's nothing, then why are you acting embarrassed and defensive? I called as I ran after him. I stopped when he did. Touched his hand to a barely visible symbol on the wall. He whispered something, and light blue light emerged from everywhere in the cave. The walls, back, ceiling, and floor were covered in swirls of pale blue light. At the very back of the cave, carved into the rock, was a makeshift 2-story house. What is this place? Back during the time of the witch hunts, this was a safe haven for witches on the run. It was abandoned until Adriana and I discovered it during a storm. Marcus told me. He began to pet Cortara's neck as he spoke. I thought you said this was a peacekeeper safe house, I asked, recalling the conversation on the train. They know of this place and its location, he explained. They are the only ones? I asked, worried about people finding this place. Yes, otherwise it wouldn't be a very safe house, or would it? So if the demons show up, I began. Peacekeepers have a church amongst them, Marcus finished. That is unlikely since all the peacekeepers have been chosen by, paused and finished quietly, council members or lords. Think people who were suspected of sending the demons after me. So read those books you mentioned? I was trying to change the I think I could tell he was now uncomfortable. 2nd floor to the left. Thank you. I smiled and moved into the open doorway. Carefully walked down the old stone steps, nudging the rocks with my feet to make sure it would hold. The place looked as if it could collapse at any minute. Chapter 7. Marcus. I'm sure everything will be fine, Marcus. The maternal voice interrupted Marcus's confused thoughts. But what if the peacekeepers are following orders from a council member or lord that wants her dead? Marcus turned to Cortara. What if, Marcus, you need more faith in yourself and in your fellow peacekeepers? Cortara stretched as she spoke, lying down and facing the team. This is my first mission like this. I have been an escort for people of importance, but I've never been a guardian, he sighed. What if that Faith gets her killed? That would be a shame. You two are so cute together. Marcus was unsure if she was teasing him or not. I'm serious. You two would have pretty children, Cortara. Marcus ran his fingers through his hair as he complained. He was starting to question the sanity of the dragon lying on the cave floor. Then a thought hit him. I'll call him and see how her family is. She must be worried. Stefan Q, his cell phone rang. Marcus, is she alright? Alcara is fine. How's everyone on your side? Wondering where she is, mostly. I know you will think of something. Marcus glanced at the waterfall. Marcus's contact spoke, but it was hard to hear over the sound of a wolf howling. He was probably getting a drink from the river. Did you hear me? Nope. Could you repeat that? Is she what we think she is? The contact asked. I have not seen anything yet. We'll have to wait and see. When she was little, she was fascinated by fire. She always looked at the candles. Even if she is fire-affiliated, that does not mean she is a phoenix. True, but thank you for letting me know she is okay. Marcus ended the call and sighed, suddenly sending his sympathies to the girl upstairs. There was a shriek of surprise from the second floor, and Marcus shut up from where he was sitting. When he reached the second floor, there was a small fire in the center of the library. Nothing was burning, and Alcara was sitting on the floor with a book in her lap. Well, that answers that question. That does not bode well, Cortara offered from behind him. Extinguiant. Marcus spoke calmly, as if a spontaneous fire in the middle of the room was as normal as an occurrence as rain, causing a ball of water to appear above the fire, fall, and extinguish it. It does not mean that you are a phoenix, but it does make it more likely. Great, Alcara said sarcastically. As much as I hate to break up this potential moment between two lovebirds, we have visitors, and I don't think that they're friendly. Cortara told Marcus. You stay with Alcara. Marcus told Cortara. Everything will be fine. He smiled at Alcara. Come out, wherever you are, said a familiar voice. The Shadow Wolf? He sent her? Marcus was now unsure if she would be safe anywhere. The Shadow Wolf was a mercenary under the employment of Dark Lord Draco Beaumont, who was famous for drastic solutions. The fact that he sent a mercenary with no concept of mercy was not a good sign. Marcus felt something clog in his throat, and he gulped. Of course. The 7 Dark Lords that could be after it had to be Beaumont. I know you're in there, Shadow Wolf's voice had a hint of anger and smugness. Relax, it's just me. Marcus walked out of the doorway, hoping his ploy would work. You honestly expect me to believe that? Shadow Wolf tilted her head, her long black hair falling from her shoulders and her eerily pale eyes narrowing in suspicion. I'm fairly certain Lord Beaumont would be very unhappy to hear that you were helping that thing. You know as well as I do there is no real evidence behind his worries. Marcus crossed his arms. Marcus, your tracking abilities are better than you seem to know. It's a mistake to underestimate me. She held her left hand in the air, showing off her black clawed gauntlet made of pure darkness. Is that supposed to intimidate me? Marcus asked. It is supposed to warn and threaten you. My orders were to find the girl and get rid of her. Now, where is she? D. Marcus hoped using her name would get her to see things his way. There was no reason for this to get ugly. He was ready to fight if he have to, but Marcus was not a fan of violence. D rolled her eyes. He doesn't pay me enough to deal with both your crap and his. Now move aside before I make you. Before Marcus could respond, the ground seemed to shake violently, as if they were standing on a volcano about to erupt. A large crack appeared, ripping the ground in half, with Marcus on one side and D on the other. A giant wall of fire erupted, and slowly a bird started to emerge from the flames. A phoenix made of pure fire. I knew she was here, so she sent her pet to fight for her. Fine. Then I shall do the same. D smirked. Umbrata conjuro, canis mortis. She snapped her fingers, and next to her a horse-sized black wolf with glowing white eyes appeared. It snarled at the firebird. Kill it, D ordered simply, turning her attention to the snowed house carved in the back of the cave. Inside, Alcara had fallen to her knees and was holding her head in her hands, shaking slightly. She was having a complete mental breakdown. Her eyes shot open, and instead of blue, they were tinted orange. The wolf got its teeth around the neck of the phoenix. At the same moment, Alcara screamed, clutching her own neck as if she was the one injured. The phoenix exploded violently, sending rock pieces flying and dust everywhere. Marcus teleported to Alacara's side. D's presence forgotten. Are you okay? He demanded. What just happened? She asked, exhausted. I know he wants you dead now, he told her as he helped her to her feet. Care to share? She asked. Yes, but not here. What do you mean, not here? This place is very close to the one trying to kill you. The fact that we were able to walk, though, surprises me. What? She asked. She was honestly confused. Most who use a spell that magnitude are barely able to move afterwards. That's only the second spell you've ever casted. It only takes years of training to cast something like that, and more to properly control it without being near death. Perhaps he has something to fear after all, Marcus mused. Marcus, I wasn't controlling anything. My emotions took over and I felt a sharp pain in my neck. Whatever you just saw, I wasn't doing it, she admitted. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Marcus eyed Alucard with curiosity. Are you sure? Yes, she nodded in confirmation.